Bioshock is one of the most critically acclaimed gaming franchises of all time. Well, it's been over 5 years since the last game, Bioshock Infinite, came out, and it's been pretty much radio silence ever since. But could that be about to change?
According to a report by Kotaku's Jason Schreier, a new Bioshock game is in development at a top-secret studio. Schreier spoke to members of Hangar 13, the development studio behind Mafia 3, who told him many employees had joined a project codenamed Parkside. The team working on Parkside started to quietly recruit from all across the games industry, and the project was so secret no one was allowed to talk about it. One developer said, quote, "If anyone from Hangar 13 tried to strike up a conversation with them, they'd say, 'Oh, we can't really talk about it.' It was all very tight-lipped." Apparently, once the team at Hangar 13 learned about their colleagues working on a new Bioshock game, tensions started to grow. Some developers believed they had been overlooked and they were desperately trying to move over to the Parkside development team.
Now, according to Schreier's sources, Parkside is still in very early development and the team is still trying to figure out what the game will actually be. One person involved said, quote, "The issue is that Parkside's not ready for lots of people. They're trying to be really smart about figuring out what the core thing is. They're careful about not falling into the same problem every studio has, where they have too many people and nothing for them to do." So could Parkside be a new Bioshock game? Well, Hangar 13's parent company Take-Two Interactive have alluded to a highly anticipated new title from one of their major franchises in numerous financial briefings over the last year. Some people think this might be a new Borderlands game, which is one of Take-Two's big franchises, developed by Gearbox. Now this is backed up by Borderlands head honcho and everyone's favourite Hawaiian shirt-wearing games executive, Randy Pitchford. Pitchford said back at PAX West last year that around 90% of the studio was busy, quotes, "working on the thing I think most of you guys want us to be working on," which does sound an awful lot like Borderlands.
But back in 2015, Take-Two CEO Strauss Zelnick said Bioshock was a really important franchise for the company. It's also worth mentioning Bioshock creator Ken Levine is still working for Take-Two, and the original Bioshock development studio has rebranded as Ghost Story Games. Ghost Story Games is a small studio of around 25 employees with a focus on creating immersive, story-driven games for people who love games that ask something of them. They are also working on a currently unannounced title which Levine said is a first-person sci-fi game where the world will react to the actions of the player. So this all sounds very Bioshocky. One thing to note though is that Levine has said working on big titles like Bioshock caused him a lot of stress, and he wants to work on smaller projects in order to have a more direct relationship with gamers.
So let's kind of reiterate some of what we said there, because it's a little bit complicated, I guess. You've got Take-Two Interactive, who kind of own these studios and operate these studios, and then one of these studios, a top secret one, is working on a new Bioshock game. That's according to Jason Schreier, respected games journalist. And then we don't know which one of these studios it could be. It sounds like it could be Ghost Story Games, which is the former Bioshock studio, but that is now a very small studio, not a big AAA one.
Yeah.
And also there's the fact that Take-Two says we're going back to one of our top franchises this year. It's going to be coming. It's going to be a big one of our favourite things. And then also you've got this Borderlands factor, which sounds like Gearbox are working on Borderlands.
Yeah.
So could it be Bioshock and Borderlands? Could it be that there is no Bioshock coming and they are just working on this kind of sci-fi game that sounds like it could be Bioshock, but Jason Schreier's got it wrong? Heaven forbid that Jason Schreier's got it wrong. Who knows? Because none of this is announced. But all we do know is that a lot of games are being made.
Yeah, we know for definite that. Well, almost for definite that Borderlands is coming, right? Almost for definite.
Pretty much.
I think that Randy Pitchford has tweeted about that, recently as well. Not that I follow him. I definitely follow him on Twitter because he's funny. He's full of memes, isn't he? We can pick memes out of Randy Pitchford all day. We pretty much know for certain that Borderlands is on the way. But what this means for Bioshock, is it one of those games where, like a trilogy enough? You played it, right?
Yeah.
How did the trilogy end? I didn't play it, so you tell me.
Bioshock we're talking about now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of distinct in their own way, and it feels like a universe kind of thing where they could keep going back and telling different stories, because it's alternate reality kind of thing. They've gone back and changed history a little bit, and so there's a lot of kind of fantasy elements and things, and it feels like a bottomless well in some ways. Like they could just keep going back to it with new ideas and new, what was this world like in the at whatever decade in the 20th century and stuff. So I think there's plenty of stuff there if they wanted to go back to it.
Take-Two also own Rockstar, who have the upcoming Red Dead Redemption 2 this year as well. So they've got possibly a huge slate of games coming this year.
And a lot of money.
And a lot of money. I think what's funny about this too is the ex-Mafia devs wanted to jump ship essentially because we all know what happened with Mafia. It wasn't well received. Mafia 3, that is, wasn't well received. And Hangar 13 is the studio behind it. Apparently, according to Jason Schreier, who spoke with a lot of the team, that's not a great place to be right at the moment. So it's funny how everyone, what, you working on something nice there? You working? Oh, I can't talk about it. What kind of situation would you be in? Your ex-colleagues are working on something really exciting, top secret, and you're stuck there with the team that worked on Mafia 3, just wallowing.
I want to know what they're working on. What are they working on?
Mafia 3.
Yeah. I mean, if they are working on something, and the staff are really keen to leave that to go to work on Bioshock, hopefully they're not doing anything. Do you know what I mean? So that in that case, that their game is not whatever they're working
totally
on.
Shit.
Shit. Okay, so what do you reckon this mystery game is, and who's the top secret studio working on it? Let us know down in the comments below. Remember to like the video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe if you want to see more stuff like this every single day. There's another video right there which you can watch right now if you want, and a link to Patreon if you do want to support the channel. See you next time.